All the tradespeople have left. Look, we have electricity. I've just done a big old tidy up. So, got quite a bit of wood left over. So we've got we've been left with this good C24, which was the diagonal braces, extra cladding, surplus cladding left over. But I've now just got all the sawdust out and everything. I was thinking about washing the floor. It's fairly muddy. I might need to do that. We'll see. What I'm going to start with is a carpet. I've got some cheapo carpet to go down. We'll lay that out, and that'll be basically to protect the concrete if I drop anything, what have you, just from abrasion. This side I've got these down at the moment to stop the vehicles dropping oil. One of them's out and the other one's in the tent. I've already dismantled one tent. So I've got it, that one's been out, I've washed it because that was just covered in sawdust and crud. So that one's been washed, got to get that one in. And then I got to get the second one in and take down the tent. Gonna have to use a technique of driving onto here, washing the mud off the wheels and before I drive it in, just to keep as much crap out as possible. Tried to keep it a bit clean, but there we go. One day I'll have a driveway. The general kind of issue now is this is full of exhaust. Okay, now we enter Operation Dry Things Up. Bought a couple of these, pretty good, 20 quid each, either 1 kilowatt or 2 kilowatts on the settings. So yeah, a couple of these, and that's about the max because both of them running at 2 kilowatts. That's pretty much around about 10 amps. These actually draw about 2.3 kilowatts when they're running. I've tested it, so that's pretty much on the 20 amp limit for this distribution board. One on the front, one under the back, and yeah, we'll see. It's obviously not gonna. They're only running 1 kilowatt, there's not a lot of airflow coming out of them, but we'll see what difference it does. Well, it'll dry, this drying is the right thing. We are 5 degrees, 94% humidity. That's having come out of here. The one that's been in here a while says 6 degrees, 82%. Almost 7 degrees. We'll see how it goes. Yeah, they're obviously not going to heat the building up to like 20 degrees, but they'll just, let's see if I can take the chill off. If it can add a bit of heat, just add a bit of heat into the fabric of the vehicle. Run these for, up until this evening. Also means I can now trickle charge. So I've got 2 C-Techs, so I can use one on each vehicle. Just one of these things you can permanently attach and then use the clip and then dangle it through and underneath, so I can just hook it up really easy. So I've got to get a couple of those. Or the other potential option is making up a loom where I can hook into basically charge the vehicle through the tow socket on the permanent feed. I guess the danger is because it's at the back, you don't see that it's plugged in and you'll drive off with it still attached. So that's about 4 hours later. And this is about the same. Pretty much the same. Which is to be expected really, because there's no insulation and those fans are quite piddly and it's been getting colder outside. Now we know. But under the Land Rover, so that is, yeah, about 13 degrees under there, nice and toasty. So they're doing the thing for the Land Rover, even if the whole room's not fully warm. So the days are ticking on, and today is a very, very stormy day, and we have a lot of moisture here, and I think this is condensation on a cold floor. The temperature's gone, what are we now? Yeah, we're in the high 90s. It's been down at about 6 or 7 degrees in here, and we've gone up to 15 and 96% humidity. It has been about 80, so there's been condensation on the chassis. I've got the fans running. just to take the bite off. But there is quite a bit of wetting along here, and then this door is, let's see if we can see this. See the drips? See that? Basically dry there to there. That's how much the overhang covers, and then this is all the wet bit. It's absolutely pouring through. I wondered if the floor was related to this, but no, it's not. But anyway, that's the good reason for having the lip. Crikey, look at that. That's a swimming pool down there. This does get a little bit damp along the edge here, and then it tracks along the expansion joint. That's quite normal. It dries out within a day normally. This is new though, but I can only assume it's condensation because that bin, I moved the bin and we've got a nice dry circle. And the same with this cardboard. There's a cardboard shape on here, so I can only assume it's cold air or warm air, moist air hitting the cold ground. Anyway, I think, what's the next step? What is the next step? The next step is really, I've got electricity now. I can extend the electrics. Really I need benches. As you can see, I'm starting to put lots of stuff. The best place to put stuff is in these makeshift shelves, effectively what they are. So I need to basically get a workbench, and if I'm going to have a workbench and put it against the wall, then really I'm going to need to insulate, which is why I've got this, and I've got some Vapour barrier as well. So I think I need to at least insulate part of the wall, try and build a workbench here, and that's a start. And then I've got twin wall racking, shelving that I can put up. Start at least get some shelves in the building, because that's one of the critical things I'm finding at the moment. There's just nowhere to put anything. I can't actually work on anything. I've got the workmate bench. This was just wicks. I need to get a better, a full pallet of this stuff. It's about half the price if you buy it in a massive pallet. But there's no real rush for that, other than the fact that I want to get stuff on the walls, shelves built and things, so it should be insulated first. It does make me wonder about the insulation, if we've got all this air flooding through the door, insulating and vapour control layer, or vapour barrier, how much of an impact is it going to have, really? You hear that? I think so. It's just turning freezing outside. The grass is a bit crunchy. I wonder if that's water freezing or if that's the aluminium roof slate nails shrinking or something. All the slates. Really frosty last night. 4 degrees in here. 4 degrees inside. It's really pretty cold. The temperature does move in the garage quite a lot with the outside. Obviously it's vented open through there at the moment, so why wouldn't it? And there's no insulation. But this thing's doing alright, barring no massive temperature swings with humidity. There's not a lot of well, there isn't condensation. And there only was condensation when we had the big storm, when it was like 12 degrees, 100% humidity. Compare that to the other Defender in the tent. This is what I'm ultimately trying to avoid. Look at the condensation. And that's on the inside. Yeah, that's nasty. It's blowing a hoolie outside. See how much water's coming through. I think the wind's opening the slats up and the water's just driving in there. It's just... It's quite a puddle down there, that's like a half a centimetre. Nice and sunny today, so I'm going to start off with some insulation. Pretty easy to fit, and I'm going to do 100mm plus 50mm, which is slightly more. I've just ordered the rest of the insulation, that's 140, but in the interest in getting going, got 100 plus some 50s. That's at least all done, so I can get the workbench in, all that done, and then I've got the mass order coming, which is full thickness, so I can just go bang, 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 slot them all in. It's a question about what I cover it with to keep it in, whether I leave it like that, board it. I've got some damp-proof vapor barrier. I just need to think about this, because what you don't want is condensation on the inside between the vapor barrier and this, because it's going to be cold inside. I guess that kind of system works in general where you've got a warm building on the inside, like a house that's warm all the time, so there's always going to be higher pressure. It's going to be warmer on the inside, so the vapor barrier is going to be warmer here. This will be the warm side of the insulation, there'll be the cold side, and the dew point will happen somewhere between inside the insulation, and you want it to evaporate outwards, whereas here it's going to be temperature's going to be changing up and down. Yesterday with the massive storm change, there was condensation even in here on the floor, so I can imagine there'd be condensation behind the vapor barrier. So I might need an intelligent vapor barrier, or I just don't bother and I use something like plywood. Cover it with plywood, because if I put this on, then everything's going to be green. It's going to be quite dark. If I put some kind of plywood on, or maybe some netting, I don't know. Maybe I should do a test, put the vapor barrier on and see how much condensation forms. It's very dark, so I won't be able to see condensation on the inside, so I haven't fully sealed it, but there's enough restriction of airflow that it would create condensation. So I'll probably leave it a few days, and it's got some wet weather coming up, and I'll take it off, see how much condensation's on the inside. These are the key stats at the moment. So I've got the second Defender ready to go in the garage, but first I need to roll out the grey carpet, which has arrived. There we go. I purposely didn't get it full width because we're going to have a workbench there and there might be shelves at the other end, but it comes in 4 metre width rolls, so that's 4 metres and it's 5.5. The full internal width is 6.7 metres and I've got 5.5. It's the cheapest of the cheap carpet. It's known as like exhibition carpet. It's got this kind of rubbery texture on the back. And it's basically there just to protect the concrete. The concrete is muddy, there is a lot of mud on there. I thought about washing it off, but I've not wanted to do that in the winter. I think that's better as a summer job. So I can't paint it till it's clean or anything like that. So I just want to protect it in the meantime, so it doesn't get dusty. If there's any kind of concrete dust going to come up, it doesn't bring up the dust. It's also got a slight insulating property. It might prevent some of that condensation on the surface that happens because of the cold mass. We shall see if that's the right move, but anyway, I can move all this stuff back, get the second Defender in. Would you look at that? Cathedral of Dreams. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. Now I've got to figure out the cabling. This will be useful because then I can decide where all the sockets need to go. Operation drying, heater, fan, battery charger, and another heater. All daisy chained off, making sure I can't run two off one of those because it would blow the fuse. Well, this is the confusing thing. You can do 20 amps out of both sockets, but I can only do 13 out of one. So I can't daisy chain and run two of those heaters off one extension lead. That is a nice usable bit of space at either end. So it's 7 meters wide, or 6.7 to the walls, which is how I designed it. I thought, so Defender's 4.5 meters. I thought 6, because that's what the tent is. 6 would be a bit tight. This is lovely, actually. A lot of good access either end. And I can have the door open, and there's space to get around it, and I could drag a trolley around it. So that's exactly what I was going for, so that's good. And halfway is this expansion line. So I can fit both of them, and I can drive them in and out, because as long as they're swapped around, both of these got the steering wheel on the same side. So, you know, I can get in this side and I can get in the far side to the driver's position and drive them in and out easily. So I've got all this space to play with. Trade-off now. How much stuff do I start carting in here from the house and my other work? It's a faff at the moment because I've got tools here, I've got tools there. I'm always in the wrong place for the tools. Luckily, everything I've got two of, like tape measures and Stanley knives and things like that, I've got one in each place now. PPE, one in each place. It's just, I do need to move in, which is why I need to get the workbench done, because you just need a workbench. You just need somewhere to put all the stuff. You need shelves. It's hard to know exactly what to prioritise. Obviously, a driveway would be great. I wouldn't have to wash the tyres off each time I want to bring the vehicles in. Prioritising is really hard, and I still got to get building control sign-off. So the fire retardant paint should be being delivered in a few hours. But I've got the priorities, like I've got a bin, I've got a brush, I've got a little step stool thing that allows me to open the windows. I've got the Velux extendable hook thing. I've got a vacuum cleaner in here. Yeah, got a ladder so I can do stuff up in the roof, and I got the 2 Defenders in. Amazing. Finally, I've been able to put up this sign. It was given to me a few years ago as a present.